we live in a society that wants us to achieve, to be the perfect woman always, and to work 7 days a week or 24/7, actually be productive, be the best woman at work, the best woman at home, the best this, the best that, and we're pushing our limits, we're pushing ourselves, and in reality, our nature is cyclical. We are not the same woman every day. We change and we go through a cyclic change, and when we are forced to be always, not always the same, but always a perfect one, always a one full of energy, this has an impact in our bodies. Our bodies react with pain, react with cramps, react with PMS symptoms, because our cycle is not respected. Anciently, communities used to celebrate a girl when she had her period. She was welcomed into her womanhood. Nowadays, girls are very ashamed. They don't want anyone to know they have their first period, or they're confused. They don't know what to do. They don't know what's happening. They tend not to say things to anyone. And this is a message that our bodies hold. And it's something that happens again and again every month. So there's a constant message of something is wrong with me. There's something, my body's betraying me, and there's something wrong. So this has an impact in our health. The menstrual cycle is not something that is happening only when we have our period, but it's this cycle that goes on throughout the month. And this cycle is divided into 4 phases. My teacher likes to call them seasons because they reflect the seasons of the year. So I'll go through the seasons, which are spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Spring is this phase after we just finish bleeding, finish with our period, and then we're there out into the world again, ready with this freshness of spring, with this curiosity, again, back into the world, being efficient, being happy. And most women tend to have this energy to come back into the world after having their period. Then we come to the summer, where the energy keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. The summer also can be reflected as the full moon. So these 2 phases are an expansive time of the month, normally 2 weeks more or less, where energy tends to increase, and when our consciousness is more focused on the outside, on people, on wanting to relate, to connect, to be out there. The fall, which is equivalent to our premenstrual time, is a time where many women tend to have lots of problems and feel very sensitive and feel very sad or very angry, and what's going on with me, and I'm not the same. But what is happening actually, on the one hand, our bodies are asking us to retreat, to look inside, and that's our need. But we're pushing ourselves to try to be this superwoman, or life is pushing us to be that superwoman, and there's a contradiction there, and a lot of annoyance from our body, from our inner self. At the same time, autumn is a phase where, like the tide when it's slow and we see what is really on the sand, it happens with our emotional stuff, what we haven't really dealt with, or things that are not working out. We're able to see in autumn. So it's a beautiful thing that our body is giving us a gift, that we can see what's not working. It's not exactly the moment to solve it all because we're very sensitive, but we have the ability, if we tune in and connect to ourselves, to see, this is not working, with a lot of self-compassion, because there's also a big voice of a critic, an inner critic that we have that attacks us. You haven't done this, and you're not so good at that, and this is not working. If we, with self-compassion, face that critic and say, okay, no, where am I really, and what I have to work in, and keep it for later, but we're able and we have the ability to see. And then comes the last phase, which is winter, which is the menstrual phase. And the menstrual phase, archetypally, is a phase for the wise old woman. It's winter. It's time to really rest, retreat, in order to be able to listen to that wise voice inside ourselves. Winter, or menstruation time, is a time where we have the ability to connect to our intuition, to our... The boundary between conscious and unconscious is blurred. We have really the capacity to connect to that unconscious and to listen to things from our gut, from a really intuitive side, which is not as easy to listen when we are ovulating or in our spring phase, where we are really connected to the outside. So if we live in a world or in a way in which we don't give space for that rest, space for us to connect to what's really important, on the one hand, our body needs rest and it will react to it, and it will react through pain and eventually through chronic things like fibroids or endometriosis, etc., even infertility. And on the other hand, if we don't allow or give ourselves the space to listen, we're going to miss it. We're going to miss that little moment of, aha, this is what I need, or aha, this is what I need to do, which tends to happen in this phase of death and life, of letting go of what's not working for us in our life anymore and receiving this, yes, this is what I need to bring back into my life when I'm in spring and summer. So our cycle monthly goes through these 4 phases that summarize or reflect a cycle of life and death. And there's time for life expansion and light, and there's time for death, contraction, and darkness. And in our society, we tend to neglect the darkness, to not want to go there, to not want to feel sad, to not want to see the anger. We want to be happy always and energetic. However, that's not possible. That's not natural. We need to go through autumn and summer for spring to come again. And in the same way, we need to retreat, come back to ourselves, listen, let go of what's not working in order to come back to life again. My advice, and more than advice, an invitation again to my Ashtangi colleagues, and in general to women that practice yoga or any physical activity, but specifically yoga, I would invite you to honor your menstrual phase, to take the time to rest. When we're menstruating, our womb is 4 kilograms heavier. We really feel heavy. Our body gives us signs that it needs to rest. It needs to be nourished. We don't want to do bandhas. We don't want to keep our bellies in. We feel heavy. If we allow ourselves to rest, if we allow ourselves to go slow, if we honor what our body needs, we won't deplete our energy. And then we'll go back into our practice in spring and summer and enjoy that beautiful energy that we have without depleting the energy that we need to go inside and to find our soul, actually, which is the purpose in the end of yoga.